Cleveland Browns starting quarterback competition, Kenny Pickett over Shedeur Sanders. Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders is one of 5 quarterbacks in the Browns quarterback room competing for the starting job. Browns wide receiver Deontay Johnson gave his prediction on who he thinks will be the starting quarterback. Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders is one of 5 quarterbacks in the Browns quarterback room. The former Colorado Buffalo star Sanders is joined by Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson. Newly signed Cleveland Browns wide receiver Deontay Johnson gave his thoughts on who he believes will be the starting quarterback. Deontay Johnson predicts Kenny Pickett to start for Browns. Deontay Johnson went on the Sports and Suits podcast earlier this month. He was asked about who he thought would end up being the Browns starting quarterback this season. "I think they are going to roll with Kenny," Pickett said for now. Johnson said, "I've been seeing Kenny going like right now with the ones. Then Joe will come in. I think they are probably going to roll with him just to see like he's coming off a season with Philly and having a Super Bowl. Then you know they can live with Joe and what he brings to the table." Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett played together with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2022 and 2023. Sanders' NFL career picks up where he left off with Buffalo's. Since being drafted in April, Sanders has certainly made a strong case for the Browns to give him a shot. In 5 practices open to the media, Sanders went 41 for 53, 77.4%, with 9 touchdowns and 1 interception. Sanders' adjustment to the NFL comes after 2 excellent seasons at Colorado. Sanders finishes Buffalo's career with 50 games played in 4 seasons and completed 1,267 of 1,808 passes, 70.1% for 14,353 yards and 134 touchdowns, with 27 interceptions. A Buffs fan favorite, many Colorado fans will be excited to see how Sanders does in NFL training camp and if he can rise up the depth chart. Deontay Johnson signs with Browns. The Cleveland Browns singed wide receiver Deontay Johnson to a 1-year, $1,170,000 0 cents contract in April this offseason. Johnson is entering his 7th season in the NFL. He was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2025 NFL Draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Johnson spent his first seasons in Pittsburgh from 2019 through 2023. He made the Pro Bowl in 2021. For his career, Deontay Johnson has 424 receptions for 4,738 yards and 28 touchdowns. Last season, in 2024, Johnson played for the Carolina Panthers, Baltimore Ravens, and Houston Texans. In 12 games played, he has 33 receptions for 375 yards and 3 touchdowns. Cleveland Browns 2025 quarterback room. The Cleveland Browns have a pair of rookies in their 2025 quarterback room, Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Sanders was selected in the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft, while Gabriel was taken 2 rounds earlier in the 3rd round. In free agency, the Cleveland Browns signed Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. Joe Flacco is a 40-year-old veteran quarterback who was on the Indianapolis Colts in 2024. Flacco started 6 games for the Colts, throwing for 1,761 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Flacco is returning to Cleveland after a 1-year stint with the Browns in 2023. Flacco helped lead the Browns to the playoffs that season. Kenny Pickett played 1 season with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024. He started 1 game and totaled 291 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Then there is Deshaun Watson. Watson suffered a torn Achilles last season, and his return for 2025 is questionable. Watson is in the middle of a 5-year, $230 million 0 cents contract that he signed in 2022. The Cleveland summer air was thick with tension, sweat, and quarterback controversy. Training camp at Berea was packed. Fans lined the fences like it was a playoff game, not a preseason practice. The buzz? The Browns quarterback battle. Not just any battle. This one had flavor. 2 names dominated the airwaves. Kenny Pickett, the seasoned, scrappy AFC North survivor who arrived with a chip on his shoulder. And Shedeur Sanders, the flashy rookie with the NFL's most famous football father and a swag that danced between confidence and cockiness. The setup Kenny came to Cleveland like a man chasing redemption. Cast off from Pittsburgh, he wore a constant frown under his helmet, like he hadn't smiled since losing his job. but on the field he was sharp. Quick reads, safe throws, commanding huddles like a grizzled sergeant.